Number 4, Alabama, traveling to Columbia, taking on South Carolina, 3:30 p.m. ABC. The Bama boys back on ABC. South Carolina back on ABC. The line's 13.5 for Alabama. Over-under is 47.5. What are our thoughts on this game here at the new SEC podcast?
Just starting off, it kind of feels eerily like the Alabama-Oklahoma game last year before the game. Like, Alabama doing pretty well, going to an unranked and struggling opponent that's likely better than their record shows. A coach kind of on the hot seat, like we saw with Venables at that point last year. Much more with Beamer this year. Bama coming off of a big win, playing against a mobile quarterback. It kind of feels like that. And you know, I don't know if it could go that way. I'm seeing trap game, people making that conversation online. For Alabama's sake, it does feel like the intensity of the staff and the players has risen since that happened last year. So I think that Alabama's going to be more prepared coming in here. But just at a glance of like the schedules and how the vibe feels of both games, it feels very, very similar.
Yeah, I mean, because it feels like this is the first time in the Alabama schedule that, you know, opponent-wise there's a drop-off. Like all these other opponents they've played have had, you know, 1 or 2 losses. This is the first drop-off. And you know, in my notes, I put for South Carolina, offense is underperforming, but still can win on any given Saturday. Like, and I mean that. I believe that. I mean that. You know, when you think about this game for South Carolina, what are your thoughts?
So, I mean, both teams have a similar boat. It matters more for South Carolina in the fact that they're both in a situation where they've struggled to run and both teams have struggled to defend the run. This matters much, much more for South Carolina because coming into the season, they were expecting running the ball to be a core part of the offense. Alabama, take it or leave it, Ty Simpson can sling the rock. I mean, for South Carolina, running was supposed to be a key part of it. You bring in Faison, you have a great running quarterback. They have the least rushing yards in the SEC, but the highest percentage of their plays, the highest percent in the SEC of their plays are rushing yards or rushing plays, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
they're calling the most rushing plays.
They
have
call
the
most
least
rushing
amount of
plays, the most rushing attempts. Yep.
With the least amount of yards. It was going to be a key part of the focus. It's just not coming into fruition on the field. And I think it's all behind the O-line play. Offense, I'm going to take all the weight off of Seller's shoulders, the running back shoulders, the receiver shoulders. The O-line is not doing their job, and that's the name of it right there.
Yeah, and I think he's top 2 most sacked quarterback in the conference, top 2 or top 3. You know, in South Carolina's defense, Alabama's pass rush has not been that dominant this season. They've been doing enough. They're putting pressure on teams. I think we saw Damani Jackson got benched at one point in the DB core. He might be playing again. I don't know for sure, but there's some gaps on this pass defense. I don't know if South Carolina has proven to this point in the season that they can take advantage of those. Rushing defense-wise, you have enough carry attempts, could allow you to have a better time of possession to where you work the clock to make this game closer. Vegas thinks otherwise.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, and just real quick onto your point about Sellers being the most sacked quarterback, facing a pressure on 48% of his dropbacks. That's absurd. Yeah, almost half the time you drop back, you're getting pressured. That's ridiculous. But to the point of where they could attack this Alabama defense, we have seen lapses at times in the zones or, you know, where there has been breakdowns and teams have been able to take advantage of it. That first drive of the Missouri game, for example. With that last game, I think Alabama game planned around that a little bit and saw that maybe we don't match up that well with Tennessee's receivers. Let's send 6. Let's do some looping blitzes. Let's put some pressure on Aguilar. We saw them get home multiple times, rattle him, shake him up a little bit. And that was a huge part of how they turned down a passing offense. Here with the O-line, do they need to send 6? Do they need to send 7? Do they need to really shake things up? But I do think that right now, like you put a spy out there, make sure to contain. You don't let Sellers get going. I talked in previous previews how important it is that he gets enough attempts to get hot. We'll see if, you know, Alabama lets that develop in this game, but there is opportunity to attack the Alabama defense, and it's usually on the ground.
It is usually on the ground. And I think on the other side, I've seen some things in the comments around from Alabama fans, like this vertical attack on the offense is reminiscent of the Bryce Young, Mac Jones days. This is the most vertically passing attack offense that South Carolina's played this season. They're not playing Kentucky. They're not playing Missouri. They played Missouri's okay. this Alabama offense is humming. So how do you think they match up receiving wise versus the South Carolina defense? It's kind of been bend, don't break.
Yeah, the Alabama team, and I think I've said it in 3 straight previews or 4 straight previews. How do you match up 1v1 with all the different weapons that Alabama has? The vertical attack is there, and a lot of it is coming on the shoulders. We get all this. We see all the Ty Simpson love everywhere. I mean, the Heisman favorite now at this point. A lot of the weight of that is on the receivers. We've seen great catches being made, him putting the pass in spots that are real tight windows, but require really good receiver play. It's big on separation. It's keeping these legs fresh. You have so many guys that get hot.
Yep.
I don't see where South Carolina matches up to all of them. There's no wide receiver one.
Yep.
It's everyone. I mean, you could call it Brooks. You could call it Horton. You could call it Bernard. You could call it Brian Williams, whoever you want.
You kind of have to hope to shut one or two of them down. Positively, the Alabama running attack hasn't been super dominant. They're sitting about like 12th in the conference, maybe like 110 yards a game or so. So that's not like the typical Alabama brand when it comes to running the football that we've seen in the past.
No, they're continuing to attempt, which I think is what I like about the Alabama running, is that they're continuing to attempt to run. They're giving Jam Miller carries for 1 or 2 yards, but it's helping to establish the need to bring guys down and helping those receivers to get more one-on-one opportunities. Jam isn't really doing much. We'll probably continue to see Hill, Kevin Riley get in the game. They're having a little bit more success. The depth guys, I'd like to see for Alabama, them continue to get more touches, but continue to run the ball. But South Carolina could shut that down, or if they could shut down the pass and force Alabama to have to be more dependent on the run, I don't know how that will play. South Carolina run defense.
Yeah, a little shaky. It's one of those games, and we're going to do our LSU preview here soon. It's one of those games where, like, if Alabama gets up 14-7, 14-3, I don't think South Carolina has enough offense to get back in the game. If they can keep it, 10-7, 7-10, now there's a better chance for South Carolina to kind of play spoiler, like you mentioned with Oklahoma last year. Just my thoughts. Any final keys, predictions, thoughts on this one?
Keys, I mean, it's the obvious keys for South Carolina. You got to give Sellers time to operate. There's been opportunity, like we mentioned, in Bama's zone to connect with the mid-range. South Carolina has fast receivers that can take advantage of that. They got, some big guys out there. For Alabama, keys, establish the run, apply those looping blitz packages, send 6, put pressure on Lenora Sellers. It's kind of been the blueprint to beating South Carolina at this point. You might get a turnover or 2 that way. We've seen it happen. So that's kind of my keys. I like Alabama in this game and to cover 34-13.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be potentially a blowout. So we'll see here. I'm going to say 30-10 Alabama. Alabama is most team Super Bowls. I'm expecting this game to be a packed house at William Bryce, but it's just it's a tough year for South Carolina. We always appreciate everyone who tunes in. We see the viewership from South Carolina fans, Alabama fans. We love talking about SEC football. Hunter and I watch football religiously on Saturdays. And if you like game previews, game recaps, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, get tuned in more, and get locked in for the last couple weeks of the season. As always, thank you once again for watching us. I'm Randall Nett Jr. We got Hunter Ziesman, and this is the new SEC Podcast.